what is black men's responsibility during the crisis? Um, well, I'd like to ask a question if I can. Let me answer the question first. I think black men who are married, who have their relationships, are taking care of their responsibilities. I think the broader question is the women who are, the question I think we're implying is what is black men's responsibility to black women who are unattached? And the question is, how can you be responsible with someone you can't get along with? How can you protect someone? If we can't deal with each other in peacetime, why is it a surprise during crisis?
So,
well,
okay, go ahead, Joe.
see, men have an obligation to society at large. It's called altruism.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a woman in distress, your obligation as a man to go to her rescue.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I agree. I agree in distress.
Now, what do we do with this thing right now? Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that unless the government is very sophisticated in what it does with a real purpose of doing something about the situation rather than exploiting the situation, we're going to have one hell of an economic mess when this is over.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm correct, I think the two largest employers of black women are one, the federal government, and then two, retail. And those sectors are going to be hard hit. But I want to go back to something that you said. If you see a woman in distress, yes, I think any man any decent guy is going to help any woman he sees in distress. But are we just asking about in distress? Or are we just talking about just in this time? Because I'm not sure what the question is at.
In general.
Okay.
Always. In specific, this one, there are going to be some bad situations that come out of this. Now, essentially, what we need to do is keep in mind that if this goes on long enough, which it might, a lot of people who are not at work are going to get pretty desperate, and desperate people get into the mode of, if I don't have it, I'll take it.
Right.
So there might be a lot of that develops. So men need to remember that it's their job fundamentally to maintain order where they live. So there may be a call for that, but hopefully you haven't spent all of your money on bling and you spent some on bang, so that you can use it for a constructive purpose rather than for a destructive one. I'm saying stuff you need to read between the lines.
Oh yeah,
on,
I got it.
I
got it. And that's what I'm saying. I understand that men are supposed to protect, but if it gets chaotic and we're supposed to keep order, it's far easier to keep order with someone who will listen to you, who will cooperate.
Oh, well, there
with you.
is that problem. Look here, Let me tell you something. I'm going to put you in your place. I'm going to tear you down to the size where you can get managed. You think you all this and that. No. You know, that's Sapphireism, we used to call it, off of that Sapphire character in Amos and Ann.
Mm-hmm.
And why in the world a woman committed to being with somebody talking about my man better not do, like, why does she want to tear him down to manageable pieces? See, that's that slave thing talking in there. Slave methodology that became part of the black culture. While we've been talking, I've been looking at what's on television. It's silent, but I've been looking at all of these commercials, and it's interesting when you don't have to avoid hearing them. You can look at them. They've got Asian people doing work, sitting down in offices at machines and stuff, and they got black folk out dancing. They got white folks sitting there in the boardroom, and they've got black folks sitting there singing gospel. They've got what look to be Hindus doing something or Pakistanis doing something with computers, and they've got black folks sitting there doing hip hop or sports. See, it's the imagery. Sometimes just turn the sound off and listen to this stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm an image consultant in real life. So, yeah, I work with image all day long. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And it's not a good thing, what I hear. What are you trying to do? Well, man, you know, like, I ain't going to deal with no hoe, man, that ain't going to take care of me. Why you got to call her a hoe? Why you want to ally yourself with somebody like that? Well, they's all like that, man. You know, they ain't worried nothing, no how, man. They don't like us, no way, man. You might as well get them to pay for you, man. You know, hey.
Well, see, Dana, I think you mentioned something about things you hear on YouTube, the guys on YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'm one of the guys on YouTube, and it's who are you listening to? Because there's extremes on all sides of any conversation. But when I talk to man, I would say fully 80+% of my clients and the guys I speak to on my shows, on my programs, they want to be married. They want to be in relationships. And then when the women call into my program, it's never wanting to be cooperative. It's like you want them. If black men and black women can't get along, I don't understand how black men have responsibility to somebody who won't cooperate with you. That's what it's all falling apart.
I do. Can I say something real quick? I agree with what you just said, and but it's because you're a man, so you know what men are going through and dealing with. But I'm a woman, and I know what women are going through and dealing with. And I just think, to me, I don't pick one gender or sex over another. I'm saying collectively as Black people, we do have an issue. We have a problem communicating with one another. There is a dysfunction in the family, in the community. That is a fact. So women have their issues. They come up against negative parts of men that they're tired of dealing with, and men vice versa, you know. So men have valid points. I'm just saying when specifically talking about YouTube, is always redundancy, complaining about women. And I always ask that question, well, why do you keep coming up against these same type of women? Because I've met women who are good women.
I can answer that question for you. I'll answer the question. It's not going to be very popular. We were talking about this earlier today. Because roughly 80 to 90% of Black women have the same software, whether she's from Wharton Business School or whether she's Keisha from the projects. The attitude is still there when dealing with Black men. I've never dated anything ratchet. I would be considered boule, all that stuff, you know, fraternities, Jack and Jill, yeah, I'm all that. That's me. And I would tell you that the men I know and the women I deal with still are dealing with a tremendous amount of attitude from my ex-wives. It's my non-Black counterparts don't deal with from their women. They get more cooperation off the rip. And see, I understand we have issues. I understand we have unresolved trauma. Hold on. I was going to say, I understand we have issues and unresolved traumas and all this, but here's what I come down. We're adults, and we have to be responsible for our own things. It's not incumbent upon Black men to understand a Black woman's position. That's for you to go address.
What do you mean by that, Black woman's position? Because we should have some type of understanding. Not you don't fully understand. Wait 1 second. Let me. You can explain after I say this. You would never walk in that person. I would never walk in a Black man's shoes because I'm not a man, even though I am a Black woman. But I could understand, and I could try to understand what he's going through, and vice versa. See, it works both ways. I can't give you everything and what I'm supposed to get in return.
I'll answer you. Iyanla Vanzant actually answered this question on Fix My Life. And they asked a question about, what are you going to teach your husband about dealing with these women out here with attitude? She says, I'm going to teach my son how to stand in it. No. Understand something. Whatever my issues are, see, as a man, what my issues are, if I had mommy issues, daddy issues, whatever, I'm responsible for my state. It is not. I'm not expecting a woman to actually come in and fix me.
Right.
And
right.
I expect Black people to know what our experience has been in this country. And I ask Black women all the time, you know, you got all these issues. I know where's your counselor? Who's your therapist? Who have you talked to?
I see what you're saying. Oh, I definitely agree with you there. Definitely.
Look,
yeah.